morning or afternoon or evening, whatever it is, where you is. Welcome to Midnight's Edge After Dark. I am Tom Connors. We have the boss man Andre joining us for a special treat tonight. He's going to talk to us about some Conan news. How you doing, Andre?
I'm doing good. Greetings, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Well, we're glad to have you here. And also, I'm going to ambush you a bit here in a moment. You'll find out.
Oh,
CC
fantastic.
Karaoke is also here from Canada. How you doing, my friend?
Glad to be here, keeping it easy. Had a healthy dose of baloney from those news articles we're going to cover today.
Well, we'll get to those shortly, but we have some Conan news and something else I want to cover before we lose Andre as well. But also we have joining us the Orange Man himself, not that one, the other one, Clobbering Times.
Hey, Tom. Good to see you there, Mr. Andre and CC and chat. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, we are glad to have you here. And I see some of the regulars here. We got Dash Attack here. We got Hamdinger here. We've got Rushaholic. We got Doug 1985. Keely Chow is here. We've got, who else? Tiger Valley. I see Duck Nation. Cool Gamer with that darn Windows sign every time. Every time. Keith Howard's here. Good to see you. Good to see you. Slithering Peanut. Aaron Ratliff. Big Boss. SB is here. Thank you for being here. Hit that like button. Share the stream out. Let everybody know that we're live. Yes, we're a little early. But there's a reason why we're a little early is because Andre is with us, as I had said before. And he dropped some Conan news yesterday. Yes, Andre, kind of take us to the beginning of all this. This is something that's been going, well, wow, you actually kind of go back like what, almost 15 years to start the story?
I think you have to go back further than that,
Even
actually.
that? Wow,
Yeah, because really, like our scoop yesterday is that the Conan series at Netflix is no more. That is, it's still a Conan series, but it's no longer at Netflix. That is the scoop. But to fully appreciate the context of that scoop, we actually have to go way, way back in time to the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, because that's where it begins. And actually, I think we actually have to go back to the third Conan movie, way back in the early 1980s or the mid 1980s, because that's when everyone wanted to do a Conan Part 3. Everyone, that is, except Arnold Schwarzenegger. They wanted to do a third Conan movie in the 80s, but Schwarzenegger didn't want to. He'd been there, done that. They wanted to do a Conan movie in the 90s, but Schwarzenegger didn't want to. Been there, done that. So that got restructured into Kull the Conqueror, but it actually started out as Conan the Conqueror. That was the movie where Conan was supposed to be king.
And that was, what was that? Who played him in the Call?
Kevin Sorbo.
Kevin Sorbo, I was just going to say.
Yeah.
And speaking of, we have probably one of the long-lost children of Kevin Sorbo himself, Nick Weiser.
Hey, guys. How's it going? Glad to be here.
Greetings.
Hi, chat. Hi, mods. And hello, Andre, the boss. Nice to see you. I'm going to let you carry on with your talk, because what I was hearing was great. So carry on, sir.
Yeah, awesome. So that was supposed to be the story of how Conan became king, but Arnold wasn't having it. But then a few years later, in the very early 2000s, around 2001, 2002, then Arnold actually was having it. Then he and John Milius had been talking, and they decided that, you know what, yeah, let's do this. And this is when a couple of things happened. John Milius, he wrote a script for King Conan, Crown of Iron, and he did this under Warner Brothers. And at the same time, this is when they released the extended version of the original Conan the Barbarian on DVD, with new color timing, with a few extended scenes, and a new spoken outro by Mako. Because before, in the original version, it just ended with and Conan eventually became king by his own hands or something like that, the end. Whereas in the new version, it now said, and that story shall also be told. Which is how you can tell that this is a remaster, because now is when they're actually planning on making another movie about King Conan. But before cameras rolled on it, it was the recall election in California, And then Arnold, he just skipped out on that movie and he went into politics instead. And in the meantime, Fredrik Malmberg had taken over the rights and his company at the time, and they did so with, referencing our Bud Light video, credit lines. Of course, at this time, there were no such thing as ESG-linked credit lines. So the only thing they needed was actually some money. They had to make a movie, and they had to make it soon. So when Schwarzenegger went into politics, they still had to make a movie, even if it was without him. And that is how the 2011 reboot came to happen, because they had a payment. It was coming up soon. They wanted to make a movie with someone else, but that was taking its sweet time, whereas Millennium could pay for the rights, get everything going like that. And so, out of necessity, because they had a credit line to pay, they went with Millennium. And Millennium then produced the Jason Momoa movie, which wasn't very good at all. And so they weren't making a second one, sending the rights back to Malmberg. And at this time is when the Conan himself, as many would say, Arnold Schwarzenegger, was done in politics. He had now finished his 8-year tenure, and he wanted to make his comeback. And as part of this comeback, he wanted to return to Conan. And so he went to Universal, and Universal went to Malmberg, and they got the rights. Now was when a King Conan movie was finally going to happen. Only it wasn't actually going to be King Conan, because by this time, we are now in the 2010s, Arnold had actually aged out of the role for King Conan. He had aged out of all of the original stories. He had aged out of all of the prestige stories. So instead, they appropriated a completely different non-Conan story. They appropriated the story Legend by David Gemmell, which is about an old king that basically walked out on his kingdom, called Druss. And they rewrote this into Conan. And this then would be the legend of Conan, not how he became king, but how he ended as king. And the story basically would be something along the lines of, you have like Conan, who is fed up with being king. Being king sucks. He's been king for many, many years. And so he decides that to hell with this, I'm not up for this. And he just buggers off into the mountains in a self-imposed exile, where he spends many, many, many years until he's at death's door at the end of his life. And then at the same time, an old threat emerges. And that's when he goes into battle one final time, because he wants to die in battle so that he can come to Valhalla after having disappointed and walked out of his kingdom, and maybe no longer is quite the legend that he once was, that has come up around him. Does this story sound familiar to anyone? Like Arnold Schwarzenegger himself, he likes to pitch this as Conan's Unforgiven. But are there any like Star Wars fans here that can see some similarity to the story is going?
Yep.
Anyone?
A little bit.
Yeah, I'm feeling that a bit. I'm not sure I'd like that story all that much.
I get why he wants it, but I don't think it fits Conan.
Basically, what he was going to do was give us Conan the Last Jedi.
Fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
That's my answer.
Sounds about right.
No, it's a good answer. It doesn't fit Conan. That's the thing. It's just another character who just goes on to become another parody. I get why Arnold, once again, I get why Arnold wants that, because, well, we see what he's become versus what he used to be. And sadly, if it was Arnold of the 80s, yeah, I don't see him wanting that. But obviously, nowadays, I think he's just changed more than he realized. He's just basically chasing Conan name, hoping that it can give him the Hollywood, relevance that he was hoping for when he initially came back, because obviously it backfired more than once with Terminator.
I'm very glad you brought that
Yeah.
up, because that's
Yeah.
exactly right. Because after he was finished in politics, he wanted to return to Hollywood. Problem was, every single one of his movies failed and bombed.
Yeah,
It was like
all of them.
It was like one thing when like the no-name movies bombed, but then Terminator Sega Genesis bombed, and that was bad because that was his single most famous movie and his most famous character, and it bombed. Why then would Universal invest 150 million in his second most popular character to bring him back for that?
Good point.
I mean,
Mhm.
Yeah.
the movies
Even-
that bombed were bad movies.
Yeah, most of them
I
were
mean,
bad. Even whether it was with Stallone, and in that Escape Plan, or whether it was with guys like Johnny Knoxville, they try to do all these like A-list pairings, which I get, it makes sense because he was trying to not only catch his audience, but an audience that may not well know his name, like the Jackass type of crowd, and none of them were landing. And believe me, I was one of those guys who was excited originally for Arnold's comeback, and I'm here watching these movies. I'm like, wow, he has lost it. Like,
Well, Escape
absolutely lost
Plan
it.
and Escape Plan and the Expendables are about the only movies he made post. Excuse me, I got the damn hiccups. Being governor, that did kind of make any money.
Yeah,
But,
they were the best ones. But the
But yeah,
last
like
stand
Andre was
is
saying,
what
yeah,
ended it.
yeah, like what Andre was saying is the big deal was Universal took one look at what was going on with Terminator, and Terminator being a much more successful franchise than Conan ever was, and said, we ain't got a fucking chance in hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, now he wants to be the last barbarian.
Pretty much, and so that's when they pulled the plug on it. And after that, Arnold spent the next 3 years trying to make other studios pick up on it, because he still had gotten the rights for the book Legend, so he couldn't use the scripts that were locked up with Universal, but he could go against. Just keep this in mind. Like, he can't use the John Milius script for King Conan, Crown of Iron. That's with Warner, and it stays there, and he's aged out of it. He can still do Legend of Conan, but he can't do the script that was developed for Universal, so they have to do that completely from scratch. And he has to start over with another studio. And if he gets another studio, well, then he could get the rights. That's what he did the next 3 years, from 2015 till 2018. Then he went to every single studio and he tried to pitch different versions of the movie, but no one took it. No one wanted it. And then in 2018, then Fredrik Malmberg was like, all right, you had your time, we have to move on. And there's just the market simply isn't there. So we're rebooting with Amazon. And of course, we covered what happened that. Then the woke wave hit. And now suddenly Conan is problematic. And then it goes from there to Netflix, and then Malmberg is titled for a while. What changed everything was actually this article that came out on May 16th in the Hollywood Reporter, which is Arnold Schwarzenegger doing basically a paid-for puff piece trying to promote his 2 upcoming projects, going on an apology tour. Tom, I'm sure you want to talk a little bit about that. I mean, he made some statements about what people should do with their freedom.
He said, "Screw you, freedom."
Screw you, freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically he's on an apology tour for that. He's got a new Netflix special.
Yeah, he did backtrack on that, Clubby. I saw.
Yeah, he totally did.
Yeah, he did.
You
but
ought to.
It only took him 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and again, I remember some people were like, "Oh, fuck him. He still said it in the first place. I ain't accepting it." It's like, oh, that's fair. I'm not going to, buddy. But I look at it this way. At least he had the decency to say I was wrong. How many fuckers are we going to hear say that?
I agree in that regard. I just, even if he did not say that statement to begin with, I don't feel like he's just got it anymore. Like, I feel like he's just not the same guy he once was, before he was governor, and that's unfortunate because once again, I was looking forward to his supposed comeback that basically never was. He's just not the same guy, and you know, I don't think he realizes that.
And well, maybe actually, I think he does, and that's part of this article, Nick. To be honest with you, because I
Okay.
think he realized he did kind of fuck up his image a bit. But in the process of trying to fix his own image, he kind of made himself look bad again by throwing Frederick Malmberg under the bus.
Yeah, because he made it sound like he's been trying to make this movie for 10 years and they are just waiting for the rights. The rights are the only holdup. But as you just heard, that's complete and total bullshit. I mean, he had the rights. Universal had the rights for 3 years. And after those 3 years, they were available for another 3 years while he tried to pitch them to everyone else. The problem is that Legend of Conan isn't on hiatus. It's not pending. It's dead. It's never happening. There's no market for it. And still, he threw Malmberg under the bus and made it sound like he's the holdup here, which obviously isn't the case. But being ever the gentleman, Malmberg, he tweeted, as we see right here, great article. We spent 3 years with Netflix and talked to them about Arnold several times. We are now working with a major filmmaker who is great and a true Conan fan. We'll share more when I can, by Crom.
Well, and the funny thing about this is before I even saw this tweet, when I saw Arnold's original statement, I sent it to Andre, who obviously had already read the statement too, and he goes, yeah, I saw that. And I said, man, he's really throwing Frederick under the bus, because we just know what we told you guys. This is not new news. This is actually stuff that's been in videos I think you've reported on at least more than once, right, Andre? About basically the whole idea that Terminator basically killed any momentum a Conan project had initially had.
Yeah, we reported this real time as it happened.
And we even talked to Frederick a little bit about some of that stuff. And I don't remember all what wound up in the actual interview, but little did I know you actually had a little more info behind the scenes. So you kind of had the same instinct I did to reach out to Frederick, but you were more so just kind of finding out if you could let everybody know this this bomb of news that was. So go ahead.
Yeah, because you were more like pushing me to like, hey, you should reach out to him and ask him. I was like, he's not going to want to say anything. He's just going to want to let this boil away. But yeah, sure, I'll reach out to him. And that's when I saw this tweet after that. And I was like, Fred, like I know.
Well, actually, I sent that to you, and I was like, "Does this mean what I think it means?" And then you can take it from there. So
yeah. Yeah, because you spotted it right away, like that he clearly differentiated between Netflix past and now working with major filmmaker present. So you were like you spotted it instantly.
Yeah, suck out like a sore thumb. I'm like, wait a minute, is they done at Netflix? Because I had no inclination that they were.
Yeah, and so I reached out to him. I was like, does this mean you're ready to tell the world that you took it away from Netflix?
Yes, kids, you heard that right. He took it away. Now tell them, Andre, why did he take it away?
He took it again. This, like, first, I just have to say that this is not something that I have from Malmberg, to be very clear about that, because he's been very political and he hasn't given any kind of details about that. But we have other sources, and other sources have told us what happened. Like, we've been, when I didn't hear anything from him, we had other sources that said that he's struggling with getting his vision across with Netflix. Script Doctor can confirm this, because this is something that he had heard in writer circles.
Well, I wish he was here right now, but yeah.
Yeah, but basically what happened was that Netflix, they wanted to subvert it. Remember, Netflix.
Imagine that.
Netflix is just look at what they did with He-Man and Masters of the Universe Revelation. Look at what they're doing with Cleopatra. Look at what they're doing with The Witcher. They wanted to do the same thing with Conan, and Malmberg wasn't having it, so he took it away from them.
Yeah, because pretty much everything Frederick said to you is in the video. So for those who haven't seen the video yet, I believe I had it pinned at the top of this stream. It's still there. So yes, check that video out after the show if you want to know what Frederick said specifically. But yes, he basically confirmed that the Netflix news is now out in the public and that they are working with another filmmaker, but he couldn't say who at this time, and he didn't give you anything else other than that, basically.
No.
But I think even though some people thought this was bad news at the top when they first heard this,
news.
I think
This
this
is actually fantastic news. Yeah.
So I'm curious to hear what you guys think about it. Yeah, go ahead, Andre. You're going to say something.
Before that, I just want to say, do you know what would have been bad news? Bad news would have been if he was like, yeah, we need the money, so let's just do it. But no, this is like one thing, and because I remember the last time when he smiled, when I asked him, and this just a few weeks ago, when I actually had him on camera, and I asked him there, like, what's up with the Netflix show? And you see kind of like his smile that he wished he could tell us. Obviously, this is why he didn't. But it's very important that they get this right, because they didn't the last time.
It's just nice to know that there's a IP out there that's actually in hands of someone who actually cares. Because around nowadays, that's like a unicorn sighting in Hollywood nowadays, and we gotta cherish that we have someone like Malmberg who actually has hold of it and wants to make sure that when it happens, with someone who wants to be invested, rather than just someone who's gonna, just to say, hey, I'm attached to a Conan movie, but I'm not gonna make a Conan movie. It's just I want to be attached to the name. They want to chase the club because Conan is a name that has obviously a pre-existing fan base, perceived legitimacy. So it's necessary Malmberg just not having it with just anyone walking in the door and just taking it from him. So I love that, and you know what? I'm happy he's taking charge of it the way it is. We can use a lot more of that type of leadership, should I say, in the world.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I can't think of any property that is as well managed right now as Conan. I mean, like, for instance, just look at how many of our peers are playing Conan Exiles right now.
Oh, I know. I've been seeing tons of people doing the gaming stream, and the Titan comic I read from Free Comic Book Day was decent too. De La Torre's art was awesome. I can't wait for the Titan book in July too. I'm excited.
Yeah, all of that is Malmberg. That's his brand management.
Love it.
Yeah, and also they were, the whole Marvel thing's a blessing in disguise, if you ask me too. So, Klabi, what's your response to this? I gotta figure you're a classic Conan fan of
I do. Well, yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic about it. I mean, I never really these days never get too excited about some of the stuff going on until we see more of it. But I'm optimistic about that. I kind of still more excited about the comic coming out. Just movies are tough with me now to get really wound up about them, but. So I think it might be a step in the right direction.
Yeah. CC?
Yeah. The concept of an old king ruling his kingdom and going for one final heroic battle, I'm all for it. Maybe you
but here's the thing. He didn't rule his kingdom. He skipped out on it.
Well, exactly. That's one very simple storytelling difference, though. Instead of having the movie set in a place where he abandoned his kingdom, you set it where he was always there and the kingdom was a success and glorious. But you still have that final heroic battle, and
but something disrupts it, or whatever,
That would put Arnold in the right age category. Maybe you give him strong people around him, not woke subversion, but like a strong cast of characters who are his army, and you go from there. It can definitely work, and it's a very, very minor difference with the same concept. Instead of abandoning, it's heroic, and that's all.
I'm sure they must have tried that too in the many years. He and his team tried pitching this to other studios. There were no takers.
Bush Pan Down says, hoping the Titan comic can deliver the mature fantasy content we can deserve. Well, Andre and I think we can say safely that we don't think you're going to be disappointed. We can't say everything, but we do know that they are striving to make sure that the new comics is in line with classic Conan and what you've seen in like the video game and such like that, because that is the canon for Conan now, as far as they're concerned. And they're getting away from the Marvel stuff where they had to kind of nerf Conan quite a bit. And again, I'm not even sure how much I can say, so I'll just turn it over to Andre on that part. But I think we're pretty confident they're not gonna be disappointed with how mature this is.
We have a good feeling.
Well, your video, Jim Zub, should say it all. And for anyone in the chat who hasn't watched it, I highly recommend you watch it. It's a nice 45-minute chat between Andre and Jim. And Jim sounds like he's ecstatic. It feels like this gets to be Jim Zub doing Conan on roids or unleashed or whatever you want to call it. So it feels like he has a creative freedom that he was obviously tied down to Marvel that he could not do. Not just when you take all the social political stigma that they want to add to everything, but just the fact that he can go fully nuts with the violence and all the mayhemicness that we know and love from Conan the Barbarian. That's what we know and love him for. It's nice that we'll get that improper.
I think if you one example, just real quick, at Marvel, Conan wasn't allowed to behead anyone. That is why the editor of Titan insisted there be a beheading in issue 0 in the Free Comic Book Day issue.
Yep.
On top of, I'm sure, other things you can kind of just deduce from there what Marvel wouldn't let them do. That now they have complete free reign to do whatever they want now. So, like, and that's the other thing is look at it. I'm not even sure how much we can say from our interactions with Jim before. I mean, I leave that to Andre, but let's put it this way. Let's put it this way. He is no longer, he's not at Marvel. He's over with them. If that tells you anything. So, this is one of those things where I wish I could say more because there's some things even I'm excited about. And I mean, I'm a casual Conan fan at the top. Like Andre brought me into this world. Like Conan was one of the few things that like, oh yeah, I knew what it was, but I had never really dove into it head first or anything like that. But I got a crash course real quick.
Nice.
Yeah, the Ringbat retrospective certainly was that.
Yeah, I'm not even anywhere near where I would consider myself authority at all like you, but I do know a few things here and there. Speaking of authorities, we have the Mexican Iron Man joining us. How are you doing, Mikey?
Hey.
You sound tired. You okay?
Hold on a second. I got a mic issue. Hold on.
Yeah, you do. All right, fix your mic issue. Let's grab some super chats, and then I got another story I want to grab here quick before we do go on. The Icelandic Filipino says, love me some mead when I go to sleep. The Critical Drinker live stream is so chaotic to fall asleep to. Well, I know he had a lot of people on there. That was a lot.
It was an anniversary special. That's why it's the 50th episode of the open bar.
Yep. And then the Icelandic Filipino is also a member now. Oh, I didn't see what level. So you know what? I'm just going to give you a special video. Let's see here. We'll do...
Right! Benton! Oh, Jesus Christ! Benton!
Fucking water dogs. And then we've got Camelbot Killer who says Hollywood stars are the largest narcissistic idiots. In most cases, yes. And look, Arnold Schwarzenegger is Arnold Schwarzenegger. Sometimes he's going to Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, yeah.
That's all there is to it. He's a
he
smart
had his
man.
moments even during the 80s. Obviously, don't get me wrong, he was a lot less soy, but he definitely had his moments that are nowhere as cringy as now. But yeah, every actor has a dull spot. Even the nice ones, the talented ones, they all do. So it's not an exclusive thing.
But at the end of the day, I mean, even though he said that stupid shit a couple years back, I still respect Arnold for a lot of what he's done to get where he's at. I mean, you can't take that away from him. Mecha J says on that note, Arnold also says his twin sequel isn't happening. He's claiming Jason Reitman screwed it up because he stopped the project when his father passed. Yeah, that's a little tone deaf. Why the fuck did he even bring that up?
He evidently does like to throw people under the bus.
That's a little lame.
Nothing's ever his fault. He's one of those.
Well, I mean, dude, Ivan Reitman died.
How dare him?
How dare he go and die before he make Twins 2?
What convenient. Yeah, man.
And what he's saying is Jason probably didn't want to do it, or he owns the rights to it, and it just, that's probably what he's griping about.
No.
Chances are they didn't want to give him the money to make it. because you got to pay Schwarzenegger, DeVito, and Eddie Murphy.
To
That
that
ain't
question,
cheap.
well, Tom, to that question, asked when did he know it was going to happen? Was it after they were seeing the results of Genesis and they decided, you know what, maybe this shouldn't be? Because I did hear rumblings all the way back that he had at least entertained the idea and he was at least at the very minimum interested, dating back to before he ran for office when he was promoting T3. I knew he even wanted to do a True Lies sequel. Obviously, it never got anywhere, but he did express interest in those things. I think I'd like to know
Honestly,
when was it official? Because if
I
it was
think
because of
it was
Genesis, that tells
official,
you everything.
but I'm trying to remember if it was just before or just after Ghostbusters Afterlife.
That was right around Genesis.
Because Ivan
Genesis
passed right after they finished shooting Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Mm.
He lived long enough to see the movie, but he didn't live long enough to see it released.
No, okay. Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because he actually was one of the stand-ins sometimes for Egon in the film. Believe it or not, Ivan was. But yeah, so I can't remember, but I do know it was on the docket. It was meant to happen. It was going to be him. It was actually going to be called Triplets because it was going to be about him, Danny DeVito learning they have a third brother, and it's Eddie Murphy. And Eddie Murphy was on board too, so it was going to happen. But and this is something they've been planning for years. Like this goes way back. But I guess they were going to do it, and it just never happened. I don't think it had less to do with Jason as it did with just Ivan dying, and the whole project probably died with him at that point. And yes, as Mecha J says, Andre is the Lord Master of Conan. Well, he's definitely one of them. But Frederick Malmberg is the keeper of the lore, I would say. But speaking of Eddie Murphy, I want to get your response to this, Andre, before you got to leave us, because this came across my desk, and you know how big of an Eddie Murphy fan I am. I mean, he's arguably probably my favorite actor, but he's circling the new Pink Panther movie. I can't even get behind this.
Wow. Is he that desperate? I mean, what the...
I am honestly not that surprised because they've actually been thinking about race-bending Inspector Clouseau before. If you go back to before the Steve Martin remake, that was actually the result of a long process of remaking the Pink Panther. And one of the actors they were considering before going with Steve Martin, they actually went really far, was Chris Tucker. Chris Tucker for a long time was.
No, I kind of vaguely remember you saying that.
Yeah. He was almost Inspector Clouseau.
Who was great in Air, by the way. I just watched that last night. Chris Tucker is great in that. Sorry, Andre, continue.
No, absolutely. And it's kind of like the same thing here. So already back then, 20 years ago, someone had the idea of race-bending Clouseau, which I thought was ridiculous then, and I think it's ridiculous now. I agree with some.
Only Peter Sellers. Only.
Yeah.
There's only one exception that Andre and I have agreed on that could maybe.
And the way that you do it is that you leave Inspector Clouseau alone and you do his son. And then you have Sacha Baron Cohen.
Didn't they try? They did it before, right?
They tried before, but
they tried, but still, that is an idea that can work because that movie was ridiculous. For one thing, you had Blake Edwards doing it when Blake Edwards had lost whatever spark he once may have had, and the actor. Well, I forgot the name of the Italian actor and the second.
Benetti or Benelli or whatever.
Benici, the guy who won an Academy Award for
Roberto Benigni.
Benigni, that's it.
Yes, exactly that guy.
That's right.
Anyway, but the problem was that the story was all wrong, and the direction was all wrong, and it was so unbelievably contrived. The whole thing, it just didn't work. But the concept itself could be workable. And if you were to pick it up again with someone like Sacha Baron Cohen, or hell, if you were to remake it again with Sacha Baron Cohen, you need someone like that to make it work.
I would actually prefer a straight remake of the original film because I was not a big fan of the Steve Martin reboot?
No, me neither. I like
How
the
about that
second
guy
one.
that played him in that movie about Peter?
I never watched the second one.
Oh,
that was
that guy was
Jeffrey Rush.
Jeffrey Rush. He was
Jeffrey
really
Rush,
good
yeah.
as Peter Sellers.
He's too old now to do it,
Too
but he
old
could
now,
have
probably. Yeah.
he could have pulled it off back then. But he'd have just basically been, and he does a great
He's
impression
been doing Sellers.
of Peter Sellers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
here's the thing,
Yeah,
though.
not good.
You know what? He did a great Peter Sellers, but even he did a terrible Clouseau.
So yeah,
That is a good movie
yeah.
though, and it does need a
That is a really good
Blu-ray.
movie.
But yeah,
Absolutely,
Life and
it's
Death
a
of Peter
fanta-
Sellers is what we're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fantastic
Pretty good.
movie, and Jeffrey Rush is fantastic as Peter Sellers. But this is
Yeah.
one thing that I noticed: the moment that he gets into Peter Sellers' characters, I mean, he probably does as well as anyone could. But
Yeah.
that only goes to show the strength of Peter Sellers as an
Yeah,
actor,
exactly.
because Peter Sellers brought all of those characters to life. Jeffrey Rush can only mimic them. Yeah. He
Yeah.
could bring Peter Sellers to life, but he could only mimic his characters, if that makes
See, and
sense.
that's where I think you're right.
Indeed.
Sasha would probably bring something new to the table. Like he would clearly, he'd probably be the same French kind of thing, but he'd bring his own twist to it, I think. And Eddie could do something, but Eddie is just not what I think of when I think of, like, to me, this is going to come off like something like a mix
Eddie.
between, it's going to come off like a mix between Beverly Hills Cop and Norbit or something. Is what I
There's
feel is
another
like going to
problem,
happen.
too. Outside of the race bending, there's another problem too. The problem with Steve Martin, he was way too old.
That
Same thing
too.
with Eddie Murphy. He's way too old. Again,
At this point, yeah.
we'll be picking up the story with a Clouseau who's about to retire.
Right. And 16-Bit wants to know why MGM is making that same mistake of tying every new project to the old. Well, that's because Amazon bought MGM. And now they're literally mining every last little thing they can to try and make some money off that purchase. And the Pink Panther is one of the few franchises they own. They own Pink Panther, RoboCop, what else? Rocky, which has already got the Creed franchise going. There's at least one or two other ones, but that's about it. They don't really have anything of great note. That's why they're so desperate. Legally Blonde, that's the other one, and I think they got a third film of that coming out this year. Other than that, it's Stargate, which they also have something going for it already. So that's what they're doing. They're trying to do everything they can to revive these, but I think this is a wrong move. Does anybody else think this might be a good move at all? I mean, I love Eddie Murphy, don't get me wrong, but
Nah.
They have a director and writer attached in the article right now, and that indicates to me the direction they're trying to go here. They got Jeff Fowler directing from Sonic, which tells me they're going for a 3-dimensional Pink Panther. Where, that mix.
That's
of
the other
action.
thing I think was up in question too, is whether or not it was going to be an actual Pink Panther
cartoon.
movie or a cartoon Pink Panther
Version.
movie. That was the other thing. Yeah.
I would
Confused
imagine
me
it's
as a
a
kid,
mix,
by the
like-
way.
I would imagine it's a Sonic-like mix if they have Jeff Fowler coming in. I would much prefer a 2D animated Pink Panther with live action, kind of like Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
I think that's
willing
what it's going to be.
That would
I
be
would
more
prefer it.
preferable. It
But
would
he should
actually
never-
make it stand out.
But he should never
nowadays.
talk, though,
Yes, agreed.
Yeah.
like the cartoon.
No, I think Eddie's going to be in the Eddie Valiant role, not to be punny.
Yeah.
But because like now that you mentioned that, CC, I do remember them saying something like this one is not going to be like
Not spectacles, though.
not an Inspector Clouseau movie so
Okay.
much as a Pink Panther movie, like the actual character
Cartoon.
Pink Panther.
They have Chris Bremner writing. Now I don't know how that might change in the process, or if this is going to be writing.
But
by
I see what
committee.
CC's saying. Yeah, if you've got the director of Sonic, that makes complete sense.
And there's no star power in this writing here. We're talking about, I'm not going to knock Chris Bremner. I don't know him, but this is not somebody who's
Well, and Andre's got to jump here
inspiring
soon, but I got to
confidence.
ask, like, let's be real, Andre. The Pink Panther has never had, even as a cartoon, has never had the reach of like the Looney Tunes and the Disney stuff. Do you
This is a
think he even
niche.
has a? Yeah, I was gonna say, do you even think he has a chance?
Only if they budget as a niche thing. I mean, again, this
Yeah.
is like a niche. This is something that you devote 30 million tops to, and not a cent more. And you can make a great Pink Panther movie for that thing. You just have to realize that at this day and age, the appeal is limited. So keep the budget limited as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And we got Mikey joining us as Andre has to leave us.
Test. Is that better?
Oh, yes, much more better. There, we can hear you. So, so we were just talking about this news here with Andre, but I was getting his final thoughts on it before he had to leave because it's pretty late over there. But, you worried about this, Andre, or you think it's going to be more like Sonic, Roger Rabbit kind of a thing?
I don't know. I didn't even think about that until you told me. But we've spoken about it before. So yeah, I'm much more worried now. I'm more worried now than I was.
Honestly, I'm going to go on the other side of this. If they actually do go the Roger Rabbit type route and not be a straight up remake of Pink Panther, then I don't have such a problem with Eddie Murphy being in it.
Yeah,
I know what it's going to be then. It's going to be a PG kids movie, kind of like Sonic.
Sure.
You know, Pink Panther is going to be a character in whether it's like he's a detective and they're trying to solve a case like the Pink Panther Diamond case or something like that. Maybe if that's the case, who cares? It's not really tromping on the original story so much. They're just trying to do something with the Pink Panther character, which he did have a surgence of popularity in the 80s and early 90s in the US, at least. Like, he was all over t-shirts, and he had a Saturday morning cartoon and some other things where he did kind of have a moment in the sun there, and he was a promoter for a lot of products here in the US, but then he just kind of faded off into the background.
Yeah,
I guess we'll have to see, but thank you, Andre, for your time, even though it's pretty late where you're at.
Yeah, it is. So I got to get going here. But thanks for having me, and I'll see you all tomorrow.
Take it easy, man.
Of course, we love
care, Andre.
talk to you. Take care.
Bye.
Let's see what else we got going on. We got Big Boss SB who says, "Hail Midnight's Edge After Dark. Thoughts about taking a page from DH Comics and have..." Oh shit! I should have got this before Andre left. I'm sorry. And have Arnold as an old King Conan telling his stories to his chronicler and have series flashbacks played by a young actor. Actually, funnily enough, I brought this up when we were talking to Frederick, and I don't know if it made the actual final cut or not, but basically his response was, "Oh yeah, we'd love to do stuff like that, and that's definitely something we've thought about." He won't give you a direct answer when it comes to that stuff. And if I do know anything, I can't really say it. So let's put it that way. But let's just say that Arnold has always been a part of their plans. They have never not considered Arnold in some shape or form, right? Like, Frederick is more than aware of what people consider Arnold to the franchise, if that means anything.
Okay.
Despite Arnold even throwing him under the bus, I'm still sure
that should tell you everything.
He's more than willing to, because he knows what Arnold means to this franchise. And I'm just speculating on that, but I knowing him from what we talked about and what he has said off the record, I think that, I mean, he's obviously an Arnold fan too. Mm-hmm. So, and then Waltman says, "Oh no, what happened to the Galactic Star Cruiser?" Yes, we're going to talk about that in a minute. As Sean says, "Holy cow, what a bad day for Disney." Yes, it was.
What a bad week. What a bad month.
Right. And then Christian Delorme's in the house. How you doing, buddy? I haven't seen you in a little bit. How you been? Says, "And Tom, welcome to the exclusive club of sexy bald men. Cheers as always." And great show. Well, I've been here for a while. Did you guys see my new shirt?
Dude, what is it? Oh, hold on. Is that Ash on there?
Hey.
The Tales of Crypt Dude. Nice.
All right, man.
Yeah. I like that.
Evil Dead 2.
Dead by Dawn.
Love it.
Nice.
So yeah, Disney. Let's get into this business.
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, so we'll save that bit for a minute, because there was this first, since we've got actually Disney sticks it to DeSantis, says Deadline, and scraps plans to move staffers to Florida from California. Considerable changes in situation, park boss Josh Diarmo says. So let's see what's going on here. Just over a week ago, Bob Iger rhetorically asked adversarial Governor Ron DeSantis if Florida really wanted Disney's considerable business and tax revenue or not. Now, without mentioning the would-be presidential contender nor his attacks on the company, the Mouse House has pulled some of that business and taxes and revenues from the Sunshine State. Oh my God. In a note that just went out from Parks and Resorts boss Josh Giarmo to Disney Parks Experiences and Products employees just now, Disney is abandoning its plan to move around 2,000 staffers and their families from Central to Florida from California. Oh my gosh. The chances are, I bet these are jobs they're just going to lose anyway. But before we get into any deeper in this, does anybody want to remind the folks out there what this is all about? Does anybody know what this is about? I know Mikey might remember.
You
I
guys
do.
are going to explain this better than I will.
Yeah. So, Mikey, this is about
Several years.
Yeah, go ahead.
Several years ago, an initiative was launched whereby the Disney Corporation, due to the scope of the overall parks and attractions operations and the business itself. I mean, if you look at Disney as a company, in terms of real estate, in terms of revenues, the cruise ships, and the amusement parks, the hotels, they have far much more revenue generated out of Florida than they do in California. And a major initiative was actually planned almost a decade ago, and it was announced pre-COVID. And when it was originally supposed to start going into motion, and then it came up again while Chapek was the CEO, and now it looks like they're canceling the whole thing. And now I think the way that this is framed is absolutely hilarious because, first of all, they probably don't have the cash to move these people, because when they move them, there's the benefits package, you cover the moving costs, you have to provide their housing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know what sticking it to Florida means, because if I'm in the state of Florida, do I want 2,000 more Californians from Southern California moving into my state? No, not at all. And the employees, as Daniel Hall aptly observes, they didn't want to move anyways. In fact, I know from someone who I used to work with years ago that now works in asset management, meaning like he deals with assets and depreciation. He's a depreciation, fixed assets, capital expenditure accountant who works for this corporation. And he's a lone voice of reason surrounded by wokies. But he told me that he was the one who told me about the split between the employees, that the few that wanted to go and almost all of them that didn't want to go because of the dreaded red state. And they didn't want to go to Florida and how evil and awful it would be. And so I think that fed into the whole exacerbating the situation with Chapek and the Florida bill related to parental rights in Florida related to the K-3 thing. So I think it's hilarious that Deadline's framing this as a yeah, we're gonna stick it to you, Ron DeSantis. We're not gonna bring our 2,000 woke ass people that don't want to move there anyway. Yeah, right, dude. That's like the bad news. Like, Tom, I got bad news. Guess what?
What?
Your mother-in-law isn't moving in with you.
No, because she's dead. That's creepy.
Okay, now
why is she still alive?
I actually feel better that Mike said all that, because I did read a little bit of this earlier, and I thought to myself, either I'm an idiot or there's nothing lost here. So I didn't understand.
No, yeah.
Is this
basically,
okay? So I did read this correctly.
These are the motherfuckers that started the whole problem to begin with.
They really did. I'm being nice.
I'm
being nice in my analysis. Why don't you give
that said we don't want to move to Florida because they're a bunch of istophobes. And that is the reason they started getting involved in Florida politics, because these motherfuckers wanted to change shit before they got there.
Yep.
And the whole reason they were moving these facilities over there is because they couldn't afford to keep them in fucking California anymore. So what the fuck do you think is going to happen to these employees? Seriously, where do you think they're going to go? pink slip, pink slip, pink slip, pink slip, pink slip.
Yep.
Because they don't have the fucking money.
Yeah.
Exactly.
This is the dumbest shit in the world. And this is what we warned them motherfuckers about from the start. You push this shit, and guess what's going to happen? They're going to try and play your fucking hand, and they're going to call your bluff, which DeSantis did. And as soon as he called that bluff, they have been desperately trying to play every last thing they got. And this is the last thing they got, because guess what? We knew this was Fugazi bullshit. This was stuff that was this thing that started this whole fucking mess. These are the don't say gay people. These are the ones.
article says it.
AKA the
Exactly.
parental rights bill for those
Yes.
who somehow.
But
do
my
not
point
have
is,
it
these are
straight.
the
I get what you're
motherfuckers
saying.
who were standing outside of California protesting because they didn't want to move to Florida. I guess get a new fucking job then. What the hell? Like, I'm sorry. These are first world fucking problems. I got the world's smallest violin, and
But
over here, you want me
Tom-
to start playing it?
But Tom, they're meanie faces out there in Florida, Tom.
Yeah, you know, I might want to have an abortion.
Tom, they're meanie faces.
I mean, I'm not a woman yet, but after I become a woman, I may want one. And they won't let me have it. My God.
This
Tom, you
entire
don't
article.
understand.
Yeah, we really don't need to go much farther than that, because that's really what it is. Like, these are the motherfuckers that started the whole thing. These are the ones that cost your company billions upon billions of dollars, where dreams come true and come to die, basically, at this point. Because let's be real.
Sir.
Go ahead, Clobby.
No, I was listening. I said yes, and I'm just agreeing with you.
Oh, I thought you had something to add to it. But like,
That's
no,
it.
like who they have lost the families, right? Nobody is going to their parks. Because guess what? Just as we just got brought up to us here in this super chat here before, this is the thing everybody's been laughing at all day long. Disney had to is going to close down this Galactic Star Cruiser, that thing they barely have had open for what, like not even a year?
No.
I mean, that hotel that apparently has the highest satisfaction ratings in Disney
I
history.
guess.
That one, right? It's right there in the key points
elite
at the top.
one, the one that costs, what is it, Mike? $4,800 a night? Or 2 nights?
$4,809.
Oh, a night? Dude.
Oh boy, how's business?
Well, you and a guest for $4,800.
That's 5 months of rent for me. Actually, maybe 6 months.
$1,209 per person times 2
Yeah.
people times 2 nights. So you and your girlfriend, Clobby, could go for $4,809 plus
wow.
plus taxes.
And
that, by the
$100
way, that
dog
doesn't
food.
include buying that does not include buying drinks yet.
Wow.
I'm trying. Okay, so I'm thinking
I
about
better
my
get a
rent.
girlfriend.
My rent, what I spend on groceries
Hope
between
I
my
don't get a girlfriend. Is that
girlfriend.
what you said?
I guess I better get a girl. I guess I
Oh,
better
I was
get a
going to say, I hope I
girlfriend.
better not, so it doesn't cost you so much. Sorry, Nick.
No, it's all good. It's just I'm doing the math in my head because I think about no, I got 2 girls, I got my girlfriend, we have a chinchilla in our home, and
Chinchilla's got to go too.
Chinchilla's gotta go too. And even when you add the chinchilla and everything we spend in the house, it doesn't add to a Star Cruiser for one night. And I'm
Oh,
talking.
I thought you meant you were taking the chinchilla to Disney World. It's like, that's a bougie chinchilla.
Well, I'm imagining a hypothetical situation that
I get
in
you.
order to spend that type of money, it would take probably around 2.5 months. And this is one night. And then there's everything else you spend around that one night. Holy shit.
I know, right? Like, and yeah, this is not counting travel there. Any of the extra stuff you want, the extras, things like food. Like, I mean, do they actually do they?
So let's do the math. So
anything provided in this at all?
So you have 3 voyages per week, right? And
Yeah.
let's just go with $4,809 as the cost per voyage.
Okay, well, right here it says $1,200 per person per day, with family packages reaching closer to 6,000.
Right, but let's just go with 48.
Wow.
Let's just go. All right, let's just go with 48. All right, you want to use 6,000? Let's use 6,000.
Do 6,000.
We'll go 6,000 per voyage times 3 voyages per week times 50 weeks out of the year, because we know that they let's just go, so 50.
2 million.
Okay, so let me get out my handy dandy little trusty little calculator, everybody. Got to bring out the abacus for this shit. So if they were to get 3 voyages a week times $6,000 times 50 weeks times what they were hoping for is 100 hotel rooms, right? They were thinking they were going to get $90 million a year if they had 100% capacity. However, we know that it's highly more likely that their capacity, that their occupancy rate is what's called in the hotel industry, their occupancy rate. Most of the times when hotels close, their occupancy rate is between 10 and 35% because they never have 100%. You never have a completely full booked hotel. You're always trying to keep around 80% is your average, is a good day in the night. But let's just assume for shits and giggles, our occupancy rate was 25%. So if we multiply that by 25, then that means at best their revenue was $22,500,000 a year. And I don't even think it was that, but let's just go with that for shits and giggles. That's before any expenses of what this fucking thing costs to operate. So let's just assume that they had a 10% profit of $2,205,000, whatever. Let's just say they were making $2 million a year. Well, this thing cost $1 billion to make. Did you know that, Tom?
$2 billion according to this.
2. Whoa.
$2 billion it says here.
Nice.
Well,
Disney reportedly spent $2 billion to construct its 2 immersive. Oh, that's the 2 parks. Never mind. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're right.
So it's $1 billion. So the
$1
hotel
right.
portion was $1 billion. The Galaxy's Edge was $1 billion, and this was $1 billion. So if I
They
take my
spent as
$2
much on
million,
the hotel as the entire Galaxy's Edge.
no, the hotel was constructed across a small street. It was adjacent to a parking lot across from Galaxy's Edge. Anyway, let me finish the math. So it's $22 million divided by $1 billion. Okay, that means that they calculated the numbers and they're probably making 0.001% of what this thing costs. So it would have taken them to make their money back at the rate it was operating. It would have taken them about 1,000 years.
You're not even being hyperbolic. That's the humor of it.
Oh man.
I just did it's on my calculator. I just right here.
Wow. Oh boy, how's business?
Anywhere from 500 years to 1,000 years is how long it would have taken, depending on whether their occupancy rate was 10% or 25%. And I think what probably led them to close it is they realized, see, when you open something, usually what happens is you have like full occupancy, then it kind of drops and it goes right back up to like that 65 to 85, 88%. And then you're there. I think what happened with them is their occupancy rate just continued to drop and drop and drop. Because if we look at what they did, they had discounts, they had freebies. They were trying to package it with Disney Vacation Plus people, or what they call DVC, Disney Vacation Club people. They were trying to say, hey, you do it, Disney Vacation Club people. They had a promotion. And nothing was sticking. And so that means their occupancy rate was falling. So, they were looking at, all right. I think originally they thought they would make their money back. I think they thought, like, look, we'll spend it for $1 billion. We'll go ahead and put $1 billion to build this fucking thing. And we're going to make we're going to make 90 million to 100 million a year, one way or the other, hopefully. And I think they were thinking we'll make our money back in 10 or 20 years. And as the occupancy rate dropped, and as the revenue never showed up, and as the exorbitant costs of running this thing continued to happen every day they're open, they're like, this hole is just getting bigger. And they realized that there was no way in hell they were not only not going to make their money back, but it wasn't even worth keeping as a loss leader tax deduction. And frankly, I think this is a big, huge. This is a parks. The parks business makes so much profit that they could have subsidized this. But I think the fact of the matter is they don't want to take $50 to $100 million from their other profitable park operations to subsidize this hotel. And earlier on another show, I heard Pro mention something that I completely agree with. I think this is a shot across the bow designed to make Star Wars look bad, and this is a preemptive strike. And closing it in September, I think is a preemptive. I think it's a preemptive move. And let's keep in mind, there was no real Star Wars at this hotel.
Yeah, and Mike, I'm glad you mentioned that because that reminded me of something I wanted to say, because I don't feel like, even if you just did the same pricing and the same type of idea where they wanted to have the Star Cruiser and still base it around, I guess you could say, the original trilogy, I don't think it would have not done that much better. That price is just too much for just a regular common families. That price is just way too realistic. Like maybe they would have done a percent or two better. Maybe. I don't doubt that, but it's just that price, that asking price is just way too
Well, and they've been
steep.
trying to make Disney more elite. Remember they had said something to that effect. And I'm not even somebody who follows the park business, right? And we don't really have any of our park people here on the panel tonight, but like the closest would be Mikey, I guess. But really, the way I see this is they're jacking up their prices on everything. They're trying to make shit more elite, but it's no different than just about everything else across the board that is failing and flailing. They just think, oh, we'll just raise the price. And then even though we only have a third of or half of the customers we used to, our bottom line stays the same.
The term,
right? But it's not working out for them. Go ahead.
The financial term they use is elasticity. You've heard that on many investor relations call and earnings calls. They use the term We believe that we have enough value that there's elasticity regarding to our pricing of our park-related experiences because of the great value we offer. Oh yeah? Well, your rubber band just broke, motherfucker.
Well, not only that, when the average family doesn't have enough money to spend on this, you're only going to have a small percentage of people who can afford to go. I mean, you've priced out your audience at that point.
Absolutely, and the watchability. I mean, the other thing too is that if it was an amazing experience, maybe there would be something there. As someone who's been to Galaxy's Edge in Anaheim, I got to tell you, that Millennium Falcon ride fucking sucks. Star Tours is better. Still, after 30, 40 years. They've changed the videos over in Star Tours, but you got to, in fact, Star Tours isn't even in freaking Galaxy's Edge. You got to go all the way to Tomorrowland to do Star Tours in Anaheim. Like you literally, it was there. It was there last year, and it's still there. I'm sure it's still there. I can ask my sister. Me and my sister got in a huge fight about Disney today. Over text. I got in a Twitter style brawl with my sister over text because she's a Disney adult shill.
She's one of these Disnerds, huh?
Yeah.
So I understand growing up with Disney and being a fan of it. I'm definitely a fan of the OG, and my kids like a lot of the old movies, and my girlfriend came from the Disney princess era too. But you can't let what you love and grow up with blindside you when something goes bad or wrong, and obviously you have some traditionally good things come out of the company for a start, but it's like a bunch of other industries. When you take the originators out of the industry, bad people come in, they want to flip around because they don't like what the company originally stood for. And a lot of people don't like a lot of Walt Disney stood for. I mean, just look back at Razor's video on Hollywood Was Always Right. That should give you a good indication of how many people Walt Disney didn't like him on an ideological level. And for a lot of them to get involved in this company, they see it as payback. They see it as payback to guys like Walt Disney, that they're trying to put a stain on his name because they don't like what he initially stood for. That sucks, but you can't let it cloud your judgment for what's being put in front of you.
Yeah, to me, it's even worse than those guys like Eisner and stuff at this point. Like, there would have been a time where I would have been like, I'm not so sure that Iger's worse than Eisner. Now, oh, totally. Iger's way worse. Because at least they were just picking his dead bones clean, right? In those eras.
Yeah.
At this point, you're right. Like, they're trying to bury the memory of the man, right? And they'll try to pretend he's controversial in some way, feeding into that bullshit narrative that he's some kind of istophobe when he never really was.
No, he never was. And that's the thing. All they did, if you looked into the sources, who was saying this stuff, it was all very high propaganda type of stuff, very socialist driven stuff. That was what was trying to be on the smear.
Well, hasn't even like Razorfist did a video about this recently too?
Oh yeah, not recently, but I
thought I saw it, but yeah,
maybe he did, and maybe I missed it. But I always tell people the best video to go back to.
It could have been an older one.
Hollywood Was Always Red is a great video to go to.
I don't think that's the one it was. I think it was more specifically about Disney, unless I just caught that and it was that one. Anyway, regardless. Like, yeah, like I even bring up Song of the South as a point, right? Like they try to bring it up as racist point. It's like, no, motherfuckers, think about it for a minute. The fact that movie came out when it did, having the people in it that it did, telling the stories that it was progressive. Wasn't nobody else putting black people in movies like that at that time? when nobody else telling the stories about the Brer Rabbit and shit like that at that time. That was basically those were fairy tales and shit that were passed down through generations and stuff like that through the black families and such. Like, and really, if you think about it, outside of the few books that you can try and find out there anymore about that those stories have almost been completely erased from history. And the fact that they were in Song of the South meant that they had a chance to live on forever, just like Snow White, just like Pinocchio, just like all these other stories. But the fact that they keep trying to bury it, to me, is more racist than just acknowledging it and embracing it. Because I've said it before. You know what Song of the South's biggest problem is? It's fucking boring. That's its biggest fucking problem. At the end of the day, it's not that great. Outside of the Brer Rabbit bits and Zippity Doodah, the music and the other bits are nothing to really write home about. That's why everybody knows Zippity Doodah, and that's it. Right? Like, there's a reason for that. It's not like it's that great of a movie overall. It has nothing to do with its context so much as it's not that great. You know, and I see Uncle Remus in the chat here. Did someone call me? Yes, we did. Zippity doo dah, zippity.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's just, is it like, I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I'm just saying, is it like Oscar caliber, like Disney level up there? No, it's probably in the middle ground of Disney movies, but it, Song of Snooze. The live action parts are boring. That's all I'm saying. Like, and that's the thing is, growing up, I seen more of the Brer Rabbit bits than anything, because they would cut those into those like Disney videos that they would just have compilation stuff on, And I had all the storybooks, but all the storybooks were just the Brer Rabbit stories. None of that had really to do with Uncle Remus. And they re-released that movie in theaters when I was a kid, in like 84 or 85.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But then the 90s happened.
But anyway, we're getting past the main point here. I mean, it's still Disney, but let's get to some super chats here. Tiger Valley 62 sends in 14 South African rands and says, on holiday next week. Well, awesome. Love you guys. See you soon. Well, have a great holiday, Tiger Valley, and hopefully get some rest. Big Boss SB says, the Star Wars hotel is gone. Yep. We should send KK a care basket of Bud Light, Miller Lite, and Dove soap. Yes, indeed. Add Adidas to that, I guess, too. I think is what I heard.
What happened to Adidas?
I guess they have only male models now for their female swimsuit line or some shit like that.
Huh?
Oh, for fuck's sake. Adidas is my favorite fucking... I wear Adidas all the time.
I'm a Nike man. Yeah.
Oh, for fuck's sake. I wear Adidas all the time. What? Tom, fix this.
I can't.
Why not?
I don't have the power. First of all, I'm too white and I'm too male.
The only way we're going to get saved is if you white people fix this shit.
We tried.
Yeah, you white.
No, you got to keep trying. You guys have saved us from everything else. World War, Hitler. We need the white
This
people.
may be one where you guys have to help us out.
Oh. Everyone hates us now, buddy. They all hate us, man. We need your help, man.
We need the black folks. We need the Mexican folks. We need all y'all.
All right, Mexican Iron Man will take a stand right here on Hilton Head Island.
Hell you go.
Indie Phantom says, shout out to Tom Connors for being everywhere. Well, thank you for that. I don't know if I need a shout out for that, but I appreciate it. And also became a new member, and I believe it was a minimum effort puppy. So here you go. Here's your minimum effort puppy, as you earned. You're happy puppy. We got Tribbing Orc who said, so another slow news day. Actually, no, it was, unless you're being facetious. Gotcha. Yeah. Christian Delorme sends in another Canadian $5, says, thought exercise. What would Walt think of this? Walt would have never bought Marvel. He would have never bought Star Wars.
Nope.
He was a man of conviction. He would have actually been an actual leader. And we would not be in the mess that we'd be dealing with DeSantis and Florida, parental rights bill, spending money on other
Epcot
things to make
City
his company
too.
survive.
He'd have built the fucking city he promised to build too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, that's a good one, Tom. Yeah. It's no. I definitely. I wonder at times a lot, like WWD. What would Walt do?
I mean, at the same time, there's a lot of things that we wouldn't have gotten in the 70s and 80s if he was like there. What? I'm sure. I don't think they would have done Touchstone Pictures. I don't think they would have bought Miramax and Dimension.
I'm
I
still so
agree.
mad about it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Probably
They
not.
would not touch Miramax. That's true.
I don't know if he would have done something like Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
No, he definitely would not. But you
I
know what?
think
That could
he
have
would
gone
have
to
thought that was a
someone
bit too
else.
risque. But I don't think he
Yeah.
would have lent out the Disney characters either. But I do believe he would have done stuff closer to what we got out of the Disney Renaissance, like stuff between Oliver Company, The Rescuers Down Under, Little Mermaid,
Yes,
Aladdin,
yeah. No,
Beauty and the
that-
Beast, Lion King. Those are things I think he would have done.
Yeah, I agree. And that's the last era where we got the closest that we got to traditional Disney. No, it's damn, and it's crazy thing. It's already 30 years ago. I watched.
But if
a
it
lot of those
wasn't
movies
for
when I was a
Roger
kid.
Rabbit, we probably wouldn't have had a lot of that, which is weird to think about because
Yeah.
I mean, Oliver and Company did okay, but it wasn't until after Roger Rabbit where the studio actually got its footing back because The Little Mermaid was like another one of those they didn't know if it was going to work after Oliver and Company. And then they didn't do well with the Rescuers Down Under. So if it wasn't for like Roger Rabbit and Little Mermaid carrying the company until Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin came along, they were kind of,
Right.
you know.
True.
And then in the 90s, they had a renaissance again of their, and I believe Walt would have been just fine with a lot of the live action type of films we got out of the late 80s and 90s, like the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the Mighty Ducks type films. I think he'd have been more than happy with that kind of stuff.
Well, a lot of those stories, they
They
center
feel
around
very
people coming
reminiscent
together.
of-
They're positive influence, family
Cool
driven.
Runnings, stuff like that. I think
Cool Runnings
yeah.
would definitely come out. I mean that was an actual diverse story of guys, literally not just because obviously they.
Well, and
looked
that's the
different
kind of
by
stuff
their
Walt
skin.
used to do in live action, right? Like,
Yeah.
so I feel like that's the closest we ever had to his whatever he was going to do again. And then after that, no. And Eisner screwed that up.
Yeah.
But I think that's probably the best we could say, Christian, as far as what I think he would think of this. He would be very disappointed.
Yeah.
Plus, you can just go by what Roy would say. I think a lot of what Roy says is what his uncle would have thought, I guess, at the end of the day. If you look at it that way. And his dad. Because those guys were really the ones who run the company. It wasn't just Walt. Because you had Roy Sr. and stuff, too, there. And then you even had, UBI and stuff like that. The guys in the animation department, too. That were a big part of that. So it wasn't just a one-man band either. So you got to think of it that way. But Andrew Etsy says, good evening, distinguished gentlemen. I don't know about that. Well, who are you talking to? Have you seen Mikey's like the only distinguished gentleman here, and he's barely that.
Yeah, let's not go crazy with that. But thanks for the compliment.
Have you guys seen the Variety article on Indy 5 showing at Cannes Film Festival? It's devastating. I knew it was showing there, but I haven't seen an article about it. Let me see what's going on here.
Oh, Tom.
The chat's been going on about it.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I heard it's not doing very well. Okay. So let's dive into this real quick before we get into some more super chats here, since this is the talk of the town. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny review. Harrison Ford plays the aging Indy in a sequel that serves up nostalgic hokum minus the thrill. So this is Owen Gleiberman's. Owen Gleiberman's an older guy from last time. He's an older reviewer.
That's an older critic word.
Yeah. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is a dutifully eager but ultimately rather joyless piece of nostalgic hokum. It's the fifth installment in the Indiana Jones franchise, and though it has its quota of relentless action, it rarely tries to match, let alone top, the ingeniously staged kinetic bravura. I know I'm saying that wrong. How do you say that word? Bravura?
Bravado? I can't say
No, it's Bravura.
Bravado.
It's not. Is that how you say that with a D?
Bravado.
Bravura.
I can't see it on the screen. My eyes are too bad.
It's Bravura. I can't. Yeah, now that you blew it up, I can say Bravura.
Bravura sounds most likely.
Yeah, I never heard that. I've heard. Yeah.
He's just trying to.
Bravura says.
Trying to be snooty.
We got Brightest Day in the chat. He helped us out there. This is what happens when Andre's not around. He's the best English speaker of us all. Anyway, of Raiders of the Lost Ark. How could it? Raiders, whatever one thinks of that movie, I always found it a trace impersonal in its 40 action serial. So he didn't even really care for the first one all that much back in the day. 40's action serial on steroids excitement. It arguably is the most influential blockbuster of the last 45 years, even more so than Star Wars. Back in
I don't know about
77,
all that.
George Lucas took us through the looking glass of what would become our all fantasy, all the time movie culture. But it was Steven Spielberg teaming up with Lucas and Raiders who introduced the structural DNA of the one thing after another action movie as endless set piece escapist machine. This means that Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny isn't just coming after 4 previous Indiana Jones films, it's coming after 4 decades of high-priced Hollywood action decadence, from the Fast and the Furious series to the Mission Impossible and Terminator and Lara Croft and Transformers and latter-day Bond films, not to mention the Marvel space operas, all of which owe boundless debt to the agro zap of Raiders aesthetic. And he's not wrong in that respect. Spielberg and Lucas are still on board as executive producers, only in name. But Spielberg in the Dial of Destiny is hands off his director's reins to Mangold, we knew that, who has mostly been gifted mainstream dramatist, walk the line. Though he honed his action chops on the Wolverine and Logan, Mangold knows his way around the blockbuster artillery. His direction of the Dial of Destiny has a competent craft, but not much of the way of exhilaration. I still can't say the Dial of Destiny without thinking of fucking Tenacious D song in my head. It just keeps going on. And it's the Dial of Destiny, child. You know I'm sick of Fleabag. She's driving me insane. Working from a script he co-wrote with Jez and John Henry Butterworth and David Koepp. Well, they got David Koepp along at least. He opens the movie with an extended prologue set in Germany near the end of World War II, in which Indy, played by deftly D.H. Harrison Ford, attempts to get his hands on the lance of Longinus, the knife that the knife used to draw Christ's blood. Now that's what this should be about. That's what this whole fucking movie should be about. Only to learn that the blade in question is a fake. So instead, he sets his sights on Antikythera, a handheld contraption of ancient gold meshed gears that is one half of a dial created by the Greek mathematician Archimedes in the 3rd century BC. It will be the artifact of Gizmo MacGuffin that hovers over the entire movie. They literally never stop talking about it. In the prologue, Indy is racing to get a hold of Antikythera before Jürgen Voller, Mads Mikkelsen, a mad dog Yahtzee scientist, can deliver it to the hands of you-know-who. Mangold does a winning homage to the playful rhythms of the early 80s Spielberg as Indy disentangles himself from a hanging noose, finds himself in a car versus motorcycle chase, and winds up along with his British archaeologist associate Basil Shaw, Toby Jones, dueling with Voller atop a speeding train. You ever seen an action sequence set on top of a speeding train before? I've seen 10,000 of them. And this one, while efficiently executed, is brought off with just enough CGI so you can see the digital seams. It's worth noting how audacious the action sequences in Raider of the Lost Ark were, a sensation expanded upon in the darker, spookier, unfairly maligned Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. But by the late 80s, when Spielberg gave us Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, as A-OK as the movie was, it was already, except for Sean Connery, a revamp on autopilot. And Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, 2008, was the rehash of the revamp. It was, reducing Indy's antics to tepid formula. The Dial of Destiny at least tosses the series in a new direction by being the first Indiana Jones movie built around the dramatic fact of Harrison Ford's age. He's 80 now, and a vibrant 80. Still handsome and lean with a scruff of gray hair, and a slower, more gravelly voice, as well as a combative physicality that feels more dutiful than compulsive. After Indy and Basil leap off the train into a river and retrieve the Antikythera, or at least half of it, the other half must still be found. The film cuts to 1969, where Indy is now a relic, an old man living in a cruddy New York apartment, walking up to his hippie neighbors blasting Magical Mystery Tour, pouring a shot of whiskey into his instant coffee as he glances over his divorce papers. Clearly Disney taking advantage of their relationship with the Beatles here. And Mangold sketches in the period well, so that it stands in for the present day, not literally, but as a signifier of the idea that Professor Henry Indiana Jones has been yanked into the modern world. He's teaching at Hunter College, where he's getting ready to retire, and keeps one half of the Antikythera, whatever the fuck it's called, stashed in the archaeology stacks. Then his goddaughter, Helena Shaw, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, shows up They haven't seen each other for 18 years, announcing that she's an archaeologist too and would like to team up with Indy to locate the other half. Helena, as it turns out, it has mercenary motives. And while Phoebe Waller-Bridge of Fleabag fame makes her saucy, spiky, and duplicitous in a cheeky way, we never feel our guts that Helena is a chip off the old Indy block. Well, why would she be? They're not related in any fucking way.
Yeah.
So while it feels like the film is setting her up to be the new Indiana Jones, there it is. I wouldn't bet the farm on that happening. Well, yeah, it's not going to happen. Voller, the Nazi foe, hasn't gone away. He was drafted into the NASA, where he spearheaded the science that drove the Apollo moon landing. That, of course, makes him a riff on Werner von Braun. And we heard that in the leaks too. Not to mention all the other ex-Yahtzees the U.S. tapped to help invent the space program. But Mads Mikkelsen, with his lizard skull and shiny metallic hair, doesn't play Voller as realistic character. He's leering megalomaniac out of central casting. This just goes on and on. Jesus Christ. Indy and Helena are going after the Graphicos, the missing half of the Antikythera, a journey that will take them from New York to Tangier, where Helena tries to unload the piece at an auction for stolen artifacts, and then on to Greece and Sicily. Voller is on the path right behind them, along with 3 assistants. One, Oliver Richter's, is gigantic. One, Mark Killian, will shoot anybody on sight. And one, Shantae Renee Wilson, styles herself like a Black Panther. A chase through a ticker tape parade for the Apollo 11 astronauts, with Indy leaping onto a police horse and riding it into a subway, is grabby in its very insanity, and a car chase in Tangier, with Indy driving a 3-wheel taxi, which we've all seen probably the clip of, has enough comic dash to evoke what we cherish about the series. If that's that's the best they've got to show us, then we're fucked. I chuckled when Indy leaps into another 3-wheeler at the moment the one he has driven gets smashed into smithereens. But little do you realize, Owen, that at that moment he's taking a back seat to that bitch.
Yep. It sure does.
But those early high points aren't followed through on mostly. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny works by translating Indy's old kick-ass slapstick logistical fervor into the pure will with which he's now hunting for the artifact. This film leaps into international locations. The action starts to feel more conventional and less Indiana Jonesy. Did I mention that the reason that the Antikythera is so valuable is that it can create fissures in time that will theoretically allow 1-2 time travel? The film actually tests this out.
Oh, shit.
With spectacularly preposterous results. But time travel in Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is really an unconscious metaphor, since it's a movie that wants to go back in time, completing our love affair with the defining action movie star Harrison Ford. In the abstract, at least, it accomplishes that right down to the emotional diagram of a grand, touching finale, but only by reminding you that even if you restage the action ethos of the past, recapturing the thrill is much harder. Oh boy. Not looking forward to this one now. Not at all.
What I expected.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, buddy.
I mean, my read on this is that he liked the opening sequence, but then you have this lazy CGI work on the train. It should be actual stunt work like you would get Tom Cruise to do. That would be much more fascinating to watch, exciting, because it's real. It's on film. And then what they open up in 1969 and they turn him into a divorced drunk who's like an old man yelling at clouds and time has passed him by. That's not what I want Indiana Jones to be. And then Fleabag high maintenance comes along and
Yeah, I saw somebody put there was a line exchange where he says something about I fought the Yahtzees, and she said yes, and you stole from indigenous people. That's a reference to Raiders. I'm like, okay, garbage.
Yeah, and then we got one from the Telegraph here that only is 2 out of 5 stars.
Yeah.
Dang. Guess he liked something about it.
No embargo, I guess.
Yeah, because this thing doesn't come out for over a month.
Wow, that's early. Yeah.
As Culture would say, hopefully it got 2 stars because it was in focus.
I don't have a thing for this, but yeah. 2 stars is not a good rating.
Not even out of 5.
Shit, I'm gonna lose my bet with Rancor Steve.
Oh,
you know what? I bet Rancor Steve
No.
I would do 3 shots online, live on camera. Then he bet me that Little Mermaid was going to be better than Indy, and I said, there's no way with the amount of reshoots Indy will. I said Indy with the number of reshoots is for sure going to be better than Little Mermaid. Shit, Tom, am I going to lose this bet?
I don't know, man, because you got to already lose because you got to go watch The Little Mermaid to begin with. So,
dude,
I
between
thought that was
Galaxy's
fucking funny.
between the hotel, that was a good one. Between the Star Wars hotel closing and Indy bombing, I don't want to be Kathleen Kennedy in October. Dude, Mission Impossible opens a week after this fucking thing?
Oh, it's gonna blow it out the water.
Yeah, there's
straight up.
Flash opens like 2 weeks before.
And when does Mission Impossible open?
Mission
July
Impossible's the
12th.
week after,
They
a week and
moved
a
it
half
to a
after.
Wednesday. They bumped it up to a Wednesday because it was originally July 14th. So now it's a Wednesday. So they're doing. I wonder if they saw what Mario was doing with the 5-day, and they decided, hey,
dude, this movie is screwed.
Yeah, they got 12 days until Tom
Dude, this
Cruise
movie's
comes and
screwed,
takes
or am I
everything.
missing something?
I think I'm in trouble.
How much did this movie cost to make?
All of it.
I was gonna say how much of it cost because of his injury on.
No,
the
but how
first
much
week
did
of
it
the
cost?
set.
Seriously, what's the production budget? Don't we know
All
that?
the money in the world.
Well, we know it's in excess of 300 million at least, minus any advertising, right?
So it's got to do
More.
$1 billion.
Well, I'm sure the
Pretty
injury too
much.
costs because he had to
higher.
pay time, like because he was away getting taken care of. Because he's not any younger, obviously, but they still want him to do his movie, even though he's starting to be as low as a certain president. I'm like, man, this is not going well. Even
I'd like to see that fucker crash a plane and live.
even let's just pretend we never had this ideology driven obsessive world. Harrison Ford is not Indiana Jones anymore. He's just not. It ended with the trilogy. 4th movie doesn't exist. We don't need aliens. We don't need time travel. And also, Tom, you and Andre were right. I remember a year and a half ago, you guys were talking about time travel. So, man, on the mark once again.
Well, to be fair, a lot of that was, I think, part of Reddit leaks and some other stuff. But it's like, oh yeah, it's all coming to fruition. All the leaks we heard are coming to fruition.
Dude, this
Even if
movie-
they reshot the ending, it's still not that. The only thing that's showing there is that they said, yeah, clearly they're not passing on the torch. Well, we know that now because they're not doing that spin-off series either. That got canned as soon as the strike came down.
Dude, this movie's screwed.
Good, honestly. I don't want to sound like, and I'm not saying it's a way of wishing bad amongst the people working on this movie. It's just honestly, Lucasfilm, they deserve to lose money on this because they just will not back down like everyone else, and they need to take the hit. They need to learn that they are not invincible, no matter how big they are, no matter how much money they have. They need to. They gotta be shown that they can bleed too, like everyone else.
It's true, all of it. I don't think they erase him anymore, Flash. I think that was one of the part of the reshoots. Because I think they knew they had fucked up if they did that.
Make 100 videos.
I shit you not. I shit you not. When that got out, I think they realized how they had fucked up. Because I believe John Williams, because they're all like, oh, no, there wasn't no reshoots. We didn't reshoot the ending. Then why the fuck did John Williams go out there and say, I got to go next week and redo the ending because they went and reshot it? I don't think he's going to make that shit up. He's got no incentive to.
Oh yeah, that was real. That was totally real.
That was definitely real. It was off the cuff. He had no idea about all the other shit going on because they are so concerned with us being right or any of us YouTubers getting these leaks right or anything like that they have tried and tried and tried. Even our good buddy Frank Marshall himself.
I think we should go on Mangold watch because if these reviews come out and they're bad, and I'm not talking from the fans, I'm just talking from the industry right now.
Will you stop talking about my fucking movie? You're gonna ruin it. Nobody's gonna see it now.
Dude, Mangold's gonna have a meltdown.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
another
have
one.
a fucking meltdown because I went and let the wife have her way, and now you fuckers are gonna make it to where nobody's gonna see it. Where's my Coke money gonna come from, Mike?
Selling rabbit chickens.
What the hell is a rabbit chicken?
They're white and cute, just like the stuff you put up your nose, Frank.
Oh, you got some Coke?
No, I don't, but I have some bunny
No,
rabbits.
man, this is gonna ruin the chances of Congo 2. You guys don't understand. I can't get shit made without my wife. I'm a fucking pariah in this fucking place. Nobody wants to touch me now because of her, but I can't get nothing made without her. What kind of shit is that?
Well,
I quit.
I think you could file for divorce, Frank.
Are you kidding me? She will get everything. She's a white woman, Mike.
Yeah, but you could okay, go put on a dress, Frank, and just pretend the force is female. You'll be all right.
Nobody is gonna buy me as a bitch.
Well, I don't know. I'm looking at these Adidas ads.
Nobody's gonna buy me as a bitch besides Kathy's, okay? Jesus. Congo. He's been away for a while. He's been busy shooting Indiana Jones. Now he's worried. It's all our fault. Patrick Musin, if I'm saying that correctly, or Mussin, sends in 10 Australian. Says, hi, y'all. Just dropped in from WWE Pro. Thank you for everybody who joined us from Pro's stream. Thank you so much. Big news day. I'll be interested in seeing what you guys have to say. Sorry we went a bit over time. Funeral dirge for KK. I don't know about that. I wouldn't get my hopes up yet. But
I am.
I'm not.
My hopes are up. I'm gonna pretend I'm gonna transport myself at times, since that's what they're doing in Indy. And if I'm sitting here in October, November on this show, looking back on what will certainly be an Indy 5 box office failure, combined with a recent closure of the Star Wars Galaxy Edge Hotel, that to me sounds like somebody's like a swan song for that bitch, for that hoe.
you should write that song.
Yes, I should.
Then we've got Christian Delorme. Again, thank you so much. Says, hi, guys. Just got my good friend Nick. Nick, go ahead.
Huge.
He needed a whole nother level for that.
Huge.
It didn't fit on one super chat.
Thanks, Kristen. Love you, man. Glad to see you here hanging out with all of us.
Speaking of Congo, we got Big Daddy MRI who's at the Congo level for 21 months. Congo. We got Indie Phantom again, who says the spirits of Splash Mountain are laughing hard. Yes. At the end of the day, I'm sure they are. Because that was one of the more beloved ones, and that is off of the Song of the South.
I love Splash Mountain.
Yeah, I've never been there. I've never been to Disney World or Disneyland. Are you going to take me, Mikey?
No, we are not going. Fuck that company. We're not spending $1 there. We're going to
Universal.
Yeah, we're going to Universal.
Jinx.
Oh my God, I'm gonna put you like in a little Dr. Seuss shirt, and you're gonna have those short little culotte shorts, and I'm gonna give you I'm gonna give you one of them big ass lollipop swirls that's red and white, and then I'm gonna put one of them little hats on you, and then I'm gonna hold your hand, and then we'll say, come on, Tommy, let's go, Tommy. But
I can go to Wisconsin, pick up Tom, buy him a pizza every day for the next entire year, including leap day, because leap year is next year. And it still wouldn't amount to that Star Cruiser price.
Right? No, I wouldn't want to go on Star Cruiser anyway.
I'd rather spend that money anyway on you for pizza.
I'd feel like I was trapped and I couldn't get out of there. No, I'm serious. I would not like that. I'm like, this is like fucking prison, man. Fuck out. What the fuck?
Get out. Come on.
Get out now.
Gilly.
Welcome to the party, Victor. No, I would love to go to Universal. That'd be awesome. The only thing that sucks is they don't have Jaws the ride anymore.
Oh, dude, I'll never.
Shit, you're gonna be in Florida and South Carolina when we go. If you want, I'll just go. We'll go on a boat and I'll dump you overboard.
Be like, how's that for Jaws the ride?
I mean, I'll give you Jaws the ride. We'll go out on my client's boat and I'll throw you offshore and we'll see how you like it.
Damn, good thing I can swim.
Yeah.
But I'll probably look like a manatee. Some motherfucker will bite me. Adam Wolford says at first it was 6K, but later, then they dropped it down to 4.5K. It was 2 days and 1 night with a drink that was 8K, and the rooms weren't big enough. Yeah, the rooms were another thing. There's no way I could stay in one of those rooms. Not just because I'm a fat ass, but I'd be like, again, it looks like a prison. It's like you're in a fucking prison for 2 days. And you're tortured too, because you got to sit there and watch some Ray show.
Oh, what? Ray show?
That the footage leaked out of the shit. Yeah, there's a Ray show.
Really?
Gross.
You gotta be freaking.
Like they do like this Star Wars thing, and like you're on a ship, and it's like, yeah. Anyway, Felicity Poubelle says Mexican Iron Man, calculate in FUPA, please.
Okay, you know what? I got embarrassed on Twitter today. I didn't.
Because you didn't know what FUPA meant?
No, how would I know what FUPA means based on my dating history?
I was going to say, I'll give Mikey that mulligan because, yeah, there's no way he's ever seen a FUPA and not ran away from it.
I had no idea what it was, and I made myself look like an idiot on Twitter today. I had no idea what it was. I never heard the term, nor have I met any lady like with it's no. Yeah.
Gonzalo Bergali says, could the stockholders sue now because of the early closure of the hotel? Well, they're already suing for other reasons.
By the way, Tom, I was already pissed off that no one told me as a Disney shareholder. Tom, correct my memory, but didn't we just have an earnings call recently?
Yes.
Okay. They didn't mention that they're going to write down 1.6 to 1.8 billion dollars worth of content that they're taking off of Disney Plus that they're going to do in June. They just announced that. Was that yesterday or the day before? Yesterday.
That was yesterday. I think we talked about it.
That was yesterday on Midnight Edge in the morning. Yeah. So yesterday I find out that we're going to write down 1.8 to 1.6 to 1.8 billion dollars of Disney Plus content for a charge off. Now, today I find out that a hotel that they spend $1 billion on, we're just going to close and shutter that shit up. Now, Now, I'm starting to feel, Tom, that Bob, the conquering hero that was to return to the Disney kingdom, I'm starting to feel that Bob's not telling me everything I need to know. Can you believe that?
No, I cannot believe that.
I feel like
Bob is like Daddy Iger.
I feel like Daddy Iger's hiding things, Tom.
Why would Daddy Iger lie to us?
I don't know. He's the savior, Tom. He was going to be our president of our, not just our Disney corporation, but our nation.
And our hearts.
And he was going to.
Yeah.
I just want to, and then, by the way.
I don't know, to answer the question, I guess, in all seriousness.
Yeah.
Can they?
Can they what?
Sue.
Yeah, things are starting to stack up, buddy. You know, the general counsel, I'm sure, as I said yesterday on the morning show, I'm sure the general counsel's like, well, we don't need to disclose the shitty shit that we're going to disclose later because we're only talking about last quarter from the other 3 months. We're in the middle of the next 3 months, so things could get better, guys. We'll just, bury this under the rug. I mean, that's what the general counsel's telling them. Like, don't tell them any new bad shit because we're going to talk about how not so bad the older shit was. Dude, I cannot wait for the next fucking earnings call because I just can't wait.
Honestly, I don't know much about the law. I would love to hear Andrew's take on this too. But I think you are right, Mike. I think you're getting to a point here where something like this,
it's starting to stack, Tom, don't you think?
Like they haven't even had it open that long.
Right. I mean, think about the shareholder lawsuit that just happened. What did they say? They just said in the shareholder lawsuit that there was information about Disney Plus and disclosures that were made and promises that were made and not kept, yada 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 yada. Right? Yeah. If I'm the attorney for that lawsuit, I'm right now saying, well, wait a minute, guys. Yeah, because I remember an earnings call, just the earnings call before last, the last one, not Bob's, not this one, but the one before. I thought I heard Chapek a couple times talking about how excited they were about the Star Cruiser Hotel. Oh, and so you're telling me that in reality there wasn't excitement; it was really failing and pretty much failing from the start, Tom?
Oh, absolutely. You just said it yourself. It's going to take them 10 lifetimes to fucking make any money on it. Maybe if you factor in inflation, 700 years.
You know what? I cannot. You know what I think is a ticking time bomb is Hulu. I mean, what are these guys? Bob has to buy Hulu in order to prop up Disney Plus. What's he going to do? borrow $9 to $12 billion more to buy out Comcast, and meanwhile Comcast is sitting there like, I'm sure they have the cash. They're gonna have to borrow it, and right now interest rates are the highest they've been, and the interest rate increase have been the highest they've been in damn near 20, 30 years. So
no, this has not been turning out well for Disney at all.
fuck this company, fuck Iger, fuck the executives, fuck them all. I hope this company fucking burns to the fucking ground.
Olaf Van Ness has been here for 21 months. Thank you so much. Tripping Orc gifted 5 Midnight's Edge memberships. Thank you so much, Tripping Orc. Aaron Pipe says, now we know why Mexican Iron Man hates Elf.
Why?
He is so woke that he supports men in bikinis. And that's and that does not mean women will go wearing trunks only. What did Elf say something on his Twitter or something? Oh, Lord. I hope you're kidding on that. Doug1985 says, I was going to see Indy 5, but oh my God, not now. Well, that's one I'm sadly going to have to see still, but I'm not looking forward to it in the least. Wartooth says, I posited Tom has dementia because he likes Junior.
What?
Didn't you say this already?
Junior what?
Junior, the movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger. My nipples are sensitive.
Do you like that movie?
That wasn't me.
Like it. I thought it was kind of funny.
I don't think it's illegal. I'll check, but I don't think it's illegal for you to like it.
Well, you know, it kind of saw the world that we're living in now where men can have babies. Valentine's Tubes says reporting. Go ahead.
No, I'm a retract. Too political.
Don't do it.
Yeah, it's Midnight's Edge.
It's beautiful. I'm pregnant. Valentine's Tube says reporting in colonoscopy today. Oh yes, drink prep horrible. Yes, it is.
Ew.
No anesthesia. Wow.
Oh wow.
Hurt.
Really?
15 minutes. Yeah. Ouch. Doc said Cohen was good as you could want. Well, that's good. Still better than Disney. Well, did you sing Moon River? You gonna use the whole fist, Doc?
Dr. Jellyfinger.
Yeah. Clobby knows what I'm talking about.
Is my mic fading in and out? Hound Monkey says my mic is coming in and out.
You sound good.
Yeah, first Fletcher movie, love it.
There was a few times here and there where you were like, but I think it was because you were moving away from your mic like this or something like that. You do that sometimes when you get animated.
Well, I get upset, Tom. These people make me mad at Disney. They make me mad, Tom.
You do. Ironcaster says Willow got pulled from D+. Big of. Oh, it's not even on there anymore? Ouch.
Whoa!
Yeah, that's not good.
There's some of the show.
The show, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm ready for
Jim Watari says Mikey needs to take a drink.
I saw this one coming, so I'm ready. There you go, Jim.
You make me want to join you, Mike.
Ole, he's like 480p, Mike. He needs to jack up his picture.
Oh God, there's so much. I'm not a YouTuber. All right, Jim Watari. This one's for the failure of the Star. Wait, I can do more than that. This one's for the Star Cruiser. Well, let's fill it up a little more. This one's for the Star Cruiser Hotel.
Where's your Iron Man glass?
May it rest in peace.
Ole.
Whoa!
Whoa! He just set his gut aflaming.
Thank you, Jim Watari. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Then we got Claudia Pimentel, who says, apparently The Little Mermaid keeps making enemies. A critic came out saying Disney mocks the British royal family, princess, and let's say the UK is not taking it well. Oh, no, they don't like that. They take that stuff very seriously.
They do.
Yeah. That's not good for them.
No.
Brilliant move.
Oh, uber brilliant. Yeah, when does that drop, too? That's right in the midst of all that shit, too, because isn't that like, or is that sooner? Is that the end of this month?
That's a bold strategy, Cotton.
That's a bold strategy, Cotton. Little Mermaid 2023 release date. Oh, it comes out Thursday, May 25th. So, okay, that's coming soon here.
Claudia's right, man. You can't mess with the Royals.
Yeah, not good.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want your people to see your movie, maybe you don't.
Well, you know, Megan and what's his ass got chased by the paparazzi, I heard, you know.
Why?
Because they wanted to lie.
I need my privacy.
They got busted.
Tom,
I mean, I'm sorry, but like, I give two shits about the Royals.
Who?
But isn't that in really fucking poor taste if your mom died in an accident like that and you lie about it? Something like that happening to you? Isn't that a bit tasteless?
Well, yeah, it's a little bit, yeah.
Absolutely.
see, that is your king and queen over there. So this would be your exile.
Well, we have it on
prince.
the money, but I mean, we don't really like.
No, but I mean, you know, like what I'm saying here, though. Did you hear about this shit?
Vaguely.
Okay,
What
yeah, I
happened?
guess they lied about the short version is I guess they lied about being chased by the paparazzi in a horrible like car chase.
The whole story about
And
I
they
know
made the
about
whole
that.
fucking thing up.
Yeah, well, come on, like we know we know the royal family likes to knock people off. That so it's there's a long history of it, right? Am I saying too much here?
I don't know.
I retract
well,
my
it was nice
statement.
knowing you.
Oh, you are a bad. CC is a bad member of the Commonwealth. He is not.
He's a bad motherfucker, is
He's
what he
not
is.
officially our representative of the Commonwealth anymore.
Exactly. Like to me, that's a little fucking tasteless.
Dude, it's awful. I didn't even know that. Does this happen when I was on vacation last couple of days, or what happened?
It just happened like today or yesterday.
What
Or
did they say? What
I'm
happened?
so far
I didn't hear
behind.
anything
They
about it.
said they had gotten chased by the paparazzi, much like his mom had in a harrowing car chase. And it turns out they were lying about the whole fucking thing.
Oh boy.
And I said, how, like, look, I said, I don't give a shit about, I've never been one who followed the royal family crap. The only thing I'll say about it is they did Diana dirty back in the day.
Sure.
Way they treated her. Other than that, like the fact that that's his mother and that's the way she fucking died, to lie about something like that, to me is just tasteless as fuck.
Wow.
To just try and get some kind of fucking attention.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Shit. Makes me want to drink an entire pint of Guinness.
Even Whoopi Goldberg won't back him on that. That's bad when Whoopi's like, I can't help you there. Nope. Fuck that. I ain't that woke.
Wow.
Yeah, I find it very disrespectful, as it sounds like some of you guys do too. But anyhow, yeah, that was the biggest news of the day we had so far. Unless there was anything else you guys know of that we had to discuss. It's been one of those days for Disney, though, I tell you what.
Mm-hmm. Got that right, man.
So,
dude,
yeah,
we're getting so much Disney news. I want you to think about this. We are getting bad news on Disney, not just monthly, weekly, and almost daily. Almost multiple times per day.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, we are now at the multiple times per day.
Yeah,
I gotta say, Bob didn't sound the same on that last earnings call. And I don't think that jovial spirit of when he came back in as a triumphant hero, I don't think that spirit is there right now.
Yeah, Variety is claiming Willow, Dollface among dozens of titles being pulled from Disney Plus and Hulu in cost-cutting move. So there you go.
Pull Star Wars while you're at it. I mean, the Disney ones.
Mm-hmm.
The OG, keep them. That's all right.
Yeah. And there's a long list here. Holy crap. Do you want me to run through it real quick? Not that anybody probably cares. BR Chef, Best in Dough, Best in Snow, Big Shot, Disney Fairy Tale Weddings, Dollface, Earth to Ned. Everything's trash. Well, it sounds like everything's trash on Disney Plus. Foodtastic, Howard, It's a Dog's Life with Bill Farmer, Little Demon, Love in the Time of Corona, Maggie, Magic Camp, The Making of Willow, The Mysterious Benedict Society, The One and Only Ivan, Pistol, The Premise, The Quest, Stuntman, Timmy Failure. I've not heard of any of these things outside of Willow, which is next, and then Wolfgang, The World According to Jeff Goldblum, that one I've heard of, and Why the Last Man, and that one I've heard of. None of these other ones have I ever heard of. Not a single one of them.
Mm-mm.
Nick made a good point earlier. We're pushing 30 years since the Renaissance now, and I loved some of their 2000 era cartoons. I watched them every day,
there was some good stuff on when the Disney Channel started. There was stuff that kids could enjoy, and
the Disney Channel was kind of a different animal, and that's what I said Disney Plus should have been, is just the extension of that instead of trying to be its hub of everything.
Yeah, it should have been
a lot cheaper to do it that way.
Yeah.
there was a good era there where you had the parents who grew up on old school Disney, and they had their kids come who could have stuff they could say that's my era of Disney. It was the perfect best of both worlds, and then they turned it around in the worst way possible very quickly. It sucks because I remember like when. I remember how big Aladdin was when I came out when I was a kid. I remember how huge that was, a big deal. I remember that was a talk of the town. It was cool. And then of course you had Pixar on the rise, or Toy Story and stuff like that. It was a cool time to be a kid enjoying movies like that. I remember I even liked a lot of the lesser known movies like Bolt and A Bug's Life. I thought even those ones are pretty good too. So yeah, it sucks to see what is happening because those are solid movies.
Yeah, Dearest says, go for broke. Let's have an old man Wicket film.
Joker.
Yeah, we don't need them to do that to him. Claudia Pimentel sends in another one. Thank you so much. Says, a little bit tasteless is an understatement. Apparently, for what I heard in the news, Disney is Team Harry and Meghan. That says it all. Of course they are.
Claudia, are you serious?
Yeah. Orchie says, Tom posited Howard the Duck is a prequel to 40K. You did. Interesting. Okay. I'm not sure I see the connection there, but cool. Abdulio says, did you hear the timing of the news of the closure? Well, if you mean like we just said, like it's 2 days or 3 days or whatever it is after their earnings call, just like the other stuff that came out after the fact. Yeah, that's some pretty convenient timing on their part, that's for sure.
Well, isn't that special?
Yeah. Well, that's convenient. Well, we didn't decide it then. We decided it now.
Yeah, we had no idea we had no idea that we had flushed $1 billion down the toilet till this morning at our weekly team meeting.
Bullshit. Oh, I'm sorry. Wasn't my mic on? I sneezed. Yeah. I think if that's what you mean, Abdulio, yeah, it's pretty sus. John Thomas sends in $20. Oh my gosh, thank you. Says, new conspiracy theory. Dun, dun, dun. Darth Kennedy put Indy at Cannes not for clout, but to trash it as a final FU to Lucas and Spielberg, just like Star Wars celeb shows were never happening because WAG strike. F Ford for helping kill him, Han and Indy. Look, I see where you're coming from here, and I don't think so. Kennedy needs this.
Yep.
This is her legacy.
Yep.
Like, I really, truly
and it's full circle because Indy was the first film that she worked on, and she was wasn't she dancing on the table or some shit and making coffee at that time?
Well, in the second film, she's actually one of the dancers, if that's what you mean. But yeah, like she was just an assistant up until Raiders.
I mean, this is legacy shit.
She was really attached to Willow too, right? And now they're completely taking that off of Disney Plus.
She was just now, but like in the original film, no. Like she had no attachment that I know of.
But the new TV series.
Yes, the new TV series, of course, yeah. Well, that's a big black eye to Lucasfilm to have that being pulled already. But that was a disaster. And it was kind of set up for 2 seasons, and it never got pulled. It's not going to get a second season now.
Gonna have to go back to banging her boyfriend Ryan Johnson.
Because you guys realize that the only reason that they left Mad Mardigan's fate open is because they couldn't kill him because they wanted to bring him in the show, but he couldn't film with them because of COVID because he's sick.
China.
So they were hoping that by the second season everything would be kind of eased up. That maybe they could have him in the second season. No. What difference does it make? They bashed the hell out of him already in the first episode. So Abdulio says the news of the closer came just as KK entered the theater to watch Indiana Jones. Oh, I did not know that. Okay, that makes sense. Interesting. So you're implying that she didn't know about this until after she got out.
Dun, dun, dun. Tom, where's my dun, dun, dun?
This is kind of like the Elton John move now.
Yeah. I like it.
I got to get the little guy from that movie going dun dun dun. Zontar says long weekend up here, staying up. I think it means staying up for Indianapolis 500 qualifying, 12 hours over 2 days. Wow, go Dixon. Mickey check out the race itself next week. You'll like it. I think it means Mikey. Are you a racing fan, Mikey?
I am not a racing fan. I don't watch Formula One. I don't watch stock cars. It is on my list. Now that I moved to South Carolina, I want to get into NASCAR. I don't know if I'll get into Indy, but one thing at a time. Mexican Iron Man's just trying to embrace the South as best he can. Yes, sir.
Yeah. What about the Gremlins animated show on Max? I know it starts like next week. I'm going to have to watch it just to tell everybody what's wrong with it, right?
Yep. You have to.
Speaking of Gremlins, I got a really, really cool package in the mail today, but we'll talk about that another time because I don't have it here right now. But there was some really cool stuff in that.
It's too big of a property to not talk about Gremlins.
Well, not really. I mean, nobody gives a shit about Gremlins but me. I'm not dumb.
I like Me the Gremlins.
Unless Joseph Reynolds is here. If he's out in the chat, say hi. But
hi.
I got a hell of a package from him today that it just blew my mind.
You got a package from
I
him.
did. I don't think he's here, so we'll save it for when he's around. But yeah, that was cool. I can't wait to thank him for it. But anyway, guys, with that, I think we're going to wrap this up today. I want to thank everybody for joining me on the stream. We got Klobby. What you got coming up?
Well, in a little over an hour, the clubhouse will be in session.
He is here.
Oh, what was that not here?
No, he is here, Joseph Reynolds. Oh, go ahead and keep plugging. I'm going to go grab the package, actually.
Okay, good. Okay, well, in a little over an hour.
Keep plugging.
I will have the clubhouse in session with my wonderful first officer, Raquel, and the great Mark D with a C. There'll be Saturday night Star Trek, of course, at 9 p.m. Central on that. And then I'll be at the Sunday Night Geekery on Mark's channel. But Monday night, I got a special one, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time on Monday night, Mark C. Comics Talk. The great Gary Beekler of Nerd Ruddick will be joining me for an interview, a couple of talking comic shops and comics and all kind of other stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. And and of course, I might be hanging out. Well, let Nick tell you about the other one I'll be at.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be huge. So yeah, I guess I'll go since I'm on the spot.
Nick, you're up.
Comic Shop Talk tomorrow, Teen Titans X-Men crossover, and that is gonna be fun to talk about because I was back in the day when Marvel DC were actually doing crossovers. And of course, I posted a video earlier this week, and I will be definitely having videos out when there's talks on the new Rippaverse creative teams. And on Toxic Tuesday, we're going to be talking Magnum Force. If you somehow don't know that title, it's a follow-up to Dirty Harry.
Good.
And I cannot wait. So, yeah,
nice.
Obviously, great show to be on tonight.
Make my Toxic Tuesday.
It's gonna be huge. Like it's gonna be
now
so
I gotta
massive.
record that so you guys can put that over his voice and use that as a plug.
Yes. So yeah, chat. Yeah, come check out my channel, and I'll see some of you on TNT.
That's Mark Clint.
Yeah. I'll see some
TNT
of you on
later.
TNT. Yeah. Thank you.
I'm gonna try and show up. I can't guarantee it.
Oh, I want you to come.
Go ahead. Make my Toxic Tuesday. That was a little closer, right?
It was better. It's a step in the right direction.
I'll work on it. I gotta go listen to him say it a few times more. Go ahead. Make my Toxic Tuesday. Something like that. Anyway. Yeah, so Joseph Reynolds. Oh my gosh. I got this today. I'm like a fucking school kid with this. He sent me this big ass package. In it is a couple of vintage Gremlins 2 t-shirts.
Wow.
Ooh.
So now I got to lose some weight so I can actually fit in those because they're like XL and I wear like 5X, just to tell you. One's got Greta on it and the other one's got Lenny. See here.
Ooh.
And then he sent me a bunch of vintage buttons from like the theater and stuff, which is really weird because I like had a couple of these as a kid. I had like the Batman one that's in here and this Bugs Bunny 50th anniversary one I had as a kid. There's like another $40. There's a Ninja Turtle one in here. There's Leprechaun.
Nice.
Here's the Ninja Turtle one here. I had this as a kid too.
Dude, yes.
Something like it anyway. Yeah, it's just this is awesome. And this isn't even all of it yet. Because then he sent me another package, or more of the package here, which has in it a letter that he sent to me explaining to me how he kind of got all this stuff, and I'm not going to get into all that right now for his privacy purposes and whatnot. But thank you so much, James. This was amazing. But he sent me a production book of Texasville. I've never heard of this movie before. These are cool collectibles because basically they come from the studio and they got a bunch of like lobby cards and breakdowns of what it's all about. But also he sent me a bunch of like ads and stuff. Like this one's for crazy people. And he sent me a poster for oh God, what the heck was the name of this movie? It's got Jiminy Smits in it where he's a doctor. What the heck was it called again?
Jiminy Cricket.
Oh, Vital Signs, that's it. And Shag, like a book for Shag and some other movies and stuff, which is cool. And then he also sent me a bunch. And now if I ever, this was one of the best parts too. Some Nuns on the Run shoelaces. And a bunch of like just little things from like premieres and stuff like Nightbreed, a guide to Nightbreed to explain all this stuff. A bunch of bumper stickers and other stickers like this. So if I ever go anywhere and we have like a fan meetup, I'll take a couple of these and I'll try and give some of these away in a contest because we got RoboCop 2 here. We've got Earth Girls Are Easy. We've got Ford Fairline like this.
Oh, wow.
And these are vintage and stuff, right? So these are all, I'm trying to be careful. There's there's something from The Abyss. This looks like it's from the premiere of Dick Tracy. Actually, it has like the time and the invitation and everything on the back. So that's pretty neat. And then this is what was cool because we mentioned Fletch earlier. This must have been when they had like the premiere of Fletch Lives. It has all of his like IDs and stuff in it from the movie. So that's kind of neat. Just all kinds of neat stuff. So thank you, Joseph. This was a really neat package.
Man.
That's
are
badass.
mad,
Cool.
Joseph Reynolds.
And like I said,
Good on
whenever
you.
we have some kind of meetup, I'm going to take some of this stuff here that you gave me doubles and triples and stuff of and try and give some away as like a contest thing when we get there. So that'll be cool. So yeah, I don't want to wreck any of this right now, but thank you, Joseph. That was amazing. So yeah, if he wants to say in the chat where he got all this stuff, that's up to him. But again, I don't want to get into any of the personal stuff, or anything like that. So thank you, Joseph. That was an awesome package.
Woohoo.
Appreciate it.
Yes,
So there you go, guys.
All right.
Oh, see, he said, and then the last son of K says, I worked for McDonald's when Dick Tracy premiered. Cool. Yeah. I'm a Goonie. Yes, I'm a Goonie. And Goonies never say die.
That's right.
That's right. He goes, glad you liked it all. Yes, I loved it a lot. I loved it a lot. I love this kind of stuff. I love vintage, especially like advertisements and like I have like the same kind of thing that Texasville has here with all that stuff. I have that for Ninja Turtles 3. So I have all the lobby cards and all that stuff for Ninja Turtles 3 and stuff like that. So I have a few of these already, but thank you so much, man. That was really cool. So with that, did anybody, CC, where did we leave off with the, did CC get to plug his stuff yet? I think Nick did, right?
I
Friday
did.
night
I
karaoke.
plugged my plug.
You can always catch us tomorrow night singing songs after the late show with Mexican Iron Man, whenever that show actually happens. I don't know if it's happening tomorrow.
Oh my
Is it,
God,
Mike?
it's happening tomorrow. I'm back in town, you guys.
All right, perfect. So we got the late show with Mexican Iron Man tomorrow, and then karaoke after that.
You guys forget I'm not a YouTuber, so I don't.
He says he's not a YouTuber, but the show doesn't happen without him. Notice this.
Yeah.
Well, shit. Doggone, I thought that would prove my point. Shoot. Oops.
People have actually had mead without me, Mikey. That's how important you are.
You told me to that time, those two
Well,
times.
I did, but
That
still.
one time you told me to do it with that, and the other time you said start
And
with
you
that.
were one of the few people I would trust to do that, my friend. So guess what? I hate to tell you, you're a YouTuber.
Oh, you stop that right now.
In fact, you're one of the best ones ever.
You stop that right now.
the master.
He knows it too. That's the problem. Especially in the behind the scenes type stuff. So,
Well, maybe there, yeah.
yeah. But with that, Mikey, what have you got coming up? Anything you want to plug?
Good, just tomorrow night.
Just tomorrow night?
Loki's Mornings of Mischief channel, The Late Show.
All right. So we will see you then, kids. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other. And don't forget to tip your waitresses or they will bite. they tend to do that.
What?
Yes. This is true.
You weird, buddy. You're weird.